Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Genuine Apbt. First off, I want to say forgive me because I haven't uploaded any more content. This is the first video I think I've had since a month and a half ago when I did the game dog obedience not training video. I did a couple videos with Coco and showing that she had lost some weight and that she had gained it back and gained all her energy back just as if she was a pup. And I did that with an update video. And from that video, I had a question. That question was, what was it that I precisely fed Coco during that 3-week period that caused her to have such a major difference in her weight and in her energy and her attitude? And so I'm going to show that. And I'm also going to add to that the basic raw diet video that I used to have on here about 8 months ago, but I accidentally erased it. So I'll do the Coco part of it first. What I was feeding Coco was a drumstick. I was giving her 2 golf size meatballs of 73% lean hamburger meat. And then I was giving her some liver, but I want to be a little bit more precise with the liver. I was only giving her about 1.75 ounces, maybe 2 ounces. If you want to be absolutely sure about that, you can get yourselves a male scale at Office Depot or anywhere where they sell office equipment. But yeah, you have to be really careful with the liver. The liver contains a lot of nutrients and vitamins that are excellent for them. But one of the things that it contains that could be counterproductive is copper. So you have to be really careful. Don't be super generous with that. Be really careful with that. One of the reasons that I was stacking her up on liver for those 3 weeks, and I was actually doing it twice a week, was because it's really, really high on iron. And iron is the highway for oxygen and a lot of other things that are very, very beneficial for your dog. So I was being really generous with her, but that was just for a 3-week period. And again, I wasn't giving her any more than about 1.75 to 2 ounces. And that's really basically what it looks like. It's very small, not a lot. I'm wearing these gloves, as you can see, because I don't want to contaminate my workbench. I use my workbench for other things, and it's very simple. It's just a Hardy 5mm nitrile disposable glove. You can get them at, I think, Harbor Freight for a few bucks for a box of 100 gloves or something like that. What I also use, though, is I use the food prep poly gloves that the kitchen ladies used to use when we were in school and stuff like that. So, well, I don't know how old you are, but back in the 70s when I was in school, yeah, that's what they used to use. So anyways, I was giving her that. I was also incorporating and the same thing with the basic raw food diet for a dog that weighs anywhere between 35 to 40 pounds. You can give them a drumstick like that or a small chicken quarter, but that's what I give Coco now, and she's right at about 40 pounds. I give her this. I don't always incorporate the liver. That was just for those particular 3 weeks. What I do use every day or every other day is I'll use gizzards for them. Okay, so that's on their basic raw food diet. And then for Zephyr, I use the chicken quarters. I don't use the individual drumstick and the thigh anymore because he wasn't chewing them correctly. After a while, he was just chewing them once and then trying to swallow them. And so it's a little safer if he chooses food a little better. And the way to do that is you just give him a bigger piece. And now he's forced to chew it a lot better than just chewing a drumstick once and swallowing it. Okay. So basic raw food diet was the protein, the bone, the skin. It's good for their teeth. It's good because it flosses their teeth. The meatballs, and then some type of organ meat. Okay. Not the liver. Some type of organ meat like this. And you can do this maybe 3 times a week. Okay. It doesn't have to be every day. When you're not doing the liver, you can do the multivitamin. Again, the multivitamin, I was only giving her 3 times a week on the basic raw food diet. I was also incorporating the wild caught premium fish oil, which is right here. And then the glucosamine chondroitin, which is right there, okay, for their joints. If you work them out a little harder, you might want to up that according to the recommended dosage. On top of that, for their daily raw food diet, with some organic extra virgin olive oil and some avocado oil, and then some apple cider vinegar. I use the Mother's or the Bragg's because it's got the organic and it's raw, it's unfiltered, and it has a Mother's in there. So on top of that, I was also using a probiotic kefir. You can do that. Be extremely careful. I need to warn you with the kefir. If you get a kefir that is not plain and unsweetened, and it happens to contain xylitol, you can kill your dog. It might not kill your dog with the first time you feed them, but any artificial sweetener, especially xylitol, extremely, extremely dangerous, could be fatal to your dog. I was also giving him cottage cheese, and that's it. So this is what it looks like. Oh man, should have opened that first. Give me a second. All right. So I was using about just plain regular cottage cheese, not the low-fat cottage cheese. I was giving her maybe like a tablespoon, not a teaspoon. That's a teaspoon, but I was giving him about a tablespoon. And then on the kefir, I was only doing a little bit. I already shook it, but I just did this for the video so you can see how much. That's it. They don't need a lot if you're going to do it every day. I think this bottle has a little bit left here on the apple cider vinegar. Not quite enough. All right, so this one here, I already shook it. Just a little, guys. Just very little. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need more than that. Okay, it's about 1/4 teaspoon. I also incorporate that in their water. I change their water every 2 days because where I have their water, it doesn't get any dust or anything like that. So I put a little bit in their water, a couple capfuls, and then it distributes through their water, and they're sure to intake it all the time. Avocado oil, same thing. That's it. Very little. Okay. And then we're doing some organic olive oil. Same thing. Just a little bit since it's every day. That's it. Probably teaspoon. That's it. You throw in there fish oil, the multivitamin. If you're not doing the liver, here I'm doing the liver and the multivitamin. This is for Zephyr actually tonight. It's not for Coco. I'm doing that just because Zephyr's been putting in a lot of work, a lot of working out. So I'm doubling him up on that, but then I won't feed him the liver for about 5, 6, 7 days. He won't get that. And then he'll get another vitamin like every other day. So he'll be fine on that. If you're going to use the multivitamins for humans, be really careful. Maybe break them up into 3 or 4 pieces, depending on the weight. But if you want to be safe, just get them the animal or the dog nutri-vitamin or multivitamins. That's better. It's a safer way to go without overdosing your dog. Then you get them on the glucosamine. That's it. Cover the kefir back. And that's really it, guys. So the basic raw food diet would consist of your foundation of chicken, little bit of hamburger meat to up the fats, and gizzards. That's it. Heavier dog that you want him to chew, let him work on the quarters as a whole, the drumstick and the thigh. But a lighter dog like her, a smaller dog that you observe that's chewing, then let her work on the drumstick if that's okay. And with anything else, you got to look at your dogs. You know, people ask, well, how much do you feed them? Well, look at your dog. Set your goal where you want them, where you want to be with them, and then feed him accordingly. If he's gaining weight, too much weight, feed him less. If he's not gaining weight, sorry about that. That's my Harley Davidson clock making noise in the background. If he's gaining a lot of weight or she's gaining a lot of weight, feed him less. If they're not gaining enough, then feed them a little more. And you might want to maybe give them a little more meat, a little more content of fat, or a little bit more of the protein with your chicken. Okay. And that's really it, guys. And another note, I'm not going to do a follow-up video on the obedience videos, and I'll tell you why. I was doing the obedience training, more formal obedience training with Zephyr, and something really strange happened with him, which is really good. Actually, Zephyr is extremely intelligent, and it showed up in a different trait. I just want to clear something up. I was never going to train Zephyr to be off leash. I was never going to train Zephyr in advanced obedience training for bite training. Absolutely not. Personal security I do not believe in that for a game bred American Pit Bull Terrier. I think it goes against the years and years of breeding and trying to get certain traits in your dogs. It goes against it. I don't believe in that. It's a personal thing, but I certainly don't believe in that. I don't think I want a dog with these type of athletic abilities to be human aggressive, or to know, or to even introduce him to defend me against a human. That's one of the reasons actually I'm not going to continue to train Zephyr in obedience training. We were out and he was on his 4th week. He was doing really good on the leash, no pulling, walking on the right side, heeling perfectly. But as I was correcting him one evening, we were walking and there was a homeless person with a sleeping bag. They were just sitting on the sidewalk actually. And as we were approaching, Zephyr started to bark at him, not in a way trying to get away from me and attack the guy, not at all. He's absolutely human friendly. He loves people, but he's super intelligent and he recognized that that could be a possible threat. I don't know if the person was nervous and he might have smelled the person's adrenaline. Dogs can do that. I'm not sure what was going on there, but in any case, Zephyr recognized the situation, and regardless of how I was correcting him to heel, he was focused on the person. And I love that. His intensity was focused on protecting me instead of obeying me to walk on a certain side of me, or maybe to walk in a certain way. And that proved something about Zephyr, that he really loves me. And it just brought us even closer together. Remember on that video that I said, bond with your dog, study your dog, make sure that you develop a bond with him before you put him through any serious obedience training. This is exactly what I meant. If I didn't care and all I cared about was, hey, no, I'm going to show a video with how smart and how intelligent Zephyr is, and I'm going to make sure to show him off leash, that's not important to me. What's important to me is to show Zephyr off in a way, or to showcase Zephyr in a way that shows that he's extremely intelligent. And that proved that he was extremely intelligent. He chose between two things. It was either obeying me on something that didn't really matter, like which side of me he walks, or if he pulls a little bit or not. He chose to protect me and go all out towards the person. And what I mean all out is he was barking, but he wasn't barking as if he wanted to bite him. He was just standing at a total stretched out mode, looking at the guy, not even pulling on his leash, but he was barking, warning the person in a good loud bark that they could not get any closer, or that we weren't going to walk by them without him keeping his eyes on them. So that was great. And what that made me do is just forget about any more formal training with him. I don't want to put him through that unnecessary stress. He's a good dog and he's excellent with what he already knows how to do. He walks fine on the leash. He works out fine with me. He listens for what I need him to do. I don't need him to do the things that Coco did. I'm not saying that Coco was more intelligent than him. I'm just saying Coco was more obedient than him when it came to walking on the leash or being off leash for a second just to get in the car. He's not like that. He's obedient. I can have him actually loose in the backyard with the gate open and he won't leave. He won't do that. I can open my gate and tell him to get in the car or the back of the truck. He's fine with that. Those are fine things. He doesn't have to do more than that. So anyways, sorry, I'm rambling on. This was a feeding video, but I went on because I haven't been here in a while. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I wasn't going to be following up with another obedience video. What my next video is going to be about is honestly something that has been on my heart to talk to everyone about that owns game bred American Pit Bull Terriers. And that is the danger of dog fighting, not the actual hands-on danger of it, but the danger for the breed, the possible elimination and extinction of our breed. There's a lot of BSL stuff going on out there. And we have to remember that the government has a lot more resources than we do. They have a lot more intelligence. They have resources. They have money. And they have drive. And they have their own agendas that they need to move forward with. And I want to do a video on why we should not participate in any type of dog fighting, dog matching, talking about this stuff. It is extremely dangerous. It's just a matter of time if you're involved in any of that, where the noose is going to, tighten around you. And it's going to really, really affect everything that you're doing. It'll affect every aspect of your life. And importantly, equally important, it's going to affect our breed. This is going to be the number one thing that comes and hurts our breed. And so I want to talk about that on my next video. Hopefully you'll join us for that. Anyways, I hope this explains the general or basic raw food diet for your dog. Once again, just look at your dog. He's going to benefit greatly. It's a lot better than kibble. We don't even have to say that anymore. We already know that. Kibble burns out a lot of the vitamins, nutrients, and benefits for your dog in the process to make it kibble. I mean, it's a dried nugget. It's not full of all the blood and all the nutrients and all the fluids that are in an animal like you're looking at here. It's self-explanatory. It's not a science. Look at it and then try it. And honestly, it doesn't really take a lot of time, guys. It doesn't take a lot of time. I buy their food maybe every week and a half. Then I put it in these big Tupperware containers. I got a fridge in my garage just for them. So I freeze some of it. See, just like that. I pre-freeze it and then I bring it out and thaw it out as I start feeding them for the week or for 4 days or whatever it is. And that's it. I mean, it takes about an hour a week to prep this stuff. If you're grinding it, I have a global grinder, an industrial grinder, but that's for puppies. These guys, I want them to chew through this stuff. I want them to chew through the bone so they don't have any buildup on their teeth. And I want them to go through the skin so it'll floss in between their teeth. I like that. I think it's more beneficial. Other people like to grind it, and that's absolutely good. That's absolutely fine. I get that. It's probably more convenient as you're feeding a lot of other dogs. Right now, I only have Coco, my 15-year-old, and I only have Zephyr. That's it. And we have another dog at my son's house. That's Brutus. And that's it. But this works for us right now. So I hope this was helpful. And like always, know them, love them, and raise them responsibly. And the reason I say that, I don't want to lengthen the video a lot more, but the reason I say know them, love them, and raise them responsibly is because you can't love them if you don't know them. So you got to get to know them. And that means know each one of your individual dogs. If you have 10, 15, 20 dogs, you need to know each one. You need to spend time with each one. Otherwise, you don't know them. You can't love them if you don't know them because you won't know their particular needs, their particular characteristics, their particular strengths, their weaknesses, their traits, their good traits, their bad traits. What are they doing? Study your dog. How are you going to selectively breed if you don't know the dogs particularly? You won't. You're going to lie to yourself and you're going to start puppy milling. And that's what happens. So know them. You have to individually know every one of your dogs, whether you have one dog, whether you have 60 dogs, it doesn't matter. You have to know them in order to love them. You can't love them without knowing them. And if you love them, if you truly love this breed, then you want to raise them responsibly. And that includes making sure, absolutely sure. I'm going to talk about this too in a second video, making absolutely sure what your traits, that your bloodline that you have, what are the traits that you want to preserve? What is it about the breed that you want to really, really preserve? You can't generally put a blanket statement out there, oh, I want to preserve the breed. Okay, how? What is it about the breed that you want to preserve? And what is it about your individual bloodline and your individual dogs that they possess that are preserving the American Pit Bull Terrier? You see how that works? You have to do that, okay? The other thing is, how do you show that you're raising them responsibly? By doing those things, by setting the goals on those particular traits and hating the dog fighting. You absolutely have to hate the practice of it. I'm not saying hate the historical dog fight. I'm not saying that. I know that I honor that. I honor that past fighting when it was completely legal. But now, guys, it is illegal. And I choose not to risk everything that I have in order to chase an empty dream that was over in 1976. It's over, guys. It is no more. It's never going to be like that. That's a time that's gone. It's past. So I'll talk about that in my next video. But that's how you have to know them in order to love them. And in order to love them, you have to raise them responsibly. So know them, love them, raise them responsibly.